Hello and welcome to episode 11 of 2 Days Play Micromages by Morphcat Games. This game was part of Itch.io's bundle for racial justice and equality. I'm DeValiente, and I will be playing with my friend Mon, whose channel you can follow at the link in the description below. The following features violence, flashing animation, and strong language. Discretion is advised. Now, without further ado, let's get started!
It says I'm recording right now. When did I hit record? I have no memory of hitting record.
Well, I mean...
Am I recording? I'm going to press stop and see.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it says I've been recording for 2 minutes.
Okay.
When did I hit it, though? I don't remember hitting. Oh, maybe it's a keyboard. Maybe I hit my keyboard. Okay. Anyways, if you don't feel like putting that in the video, you can just cut it.
I mean, we need B-roll stuff, but that's kind of heavy stuff to put into a B-roll.
Anyways, okay, I'll start the game. I'll share the game with you. Yeah, it's like I definitely understand like what you're saying, and
yeah,
it's and again it just comes to the fact that fucking the brain is just so complex and we don't understand it fully.
Right.
Like that's what it comes down to. We just really don't understand the brain. Did I hang up on you? Oh no.
No.
There we go.
I just shared your screen.
Yeah. You can see it?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. So yeah, anyways, like we just don't understand enough about the brain.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
But yeah, we're finally in like a place where we can do that. Like we can look at like we can do more in-depth things, and the science of it is like, I mean, people are like, well, psychology's been around for blah 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 blah, and it's like, no, the ghost in your blood has been around for blah 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 blah. The actual delving into what makes people do the things they do is so new that it's literally changing on a daily basis.
Yeah, because there's definitely like, there's how does the brain chemically operate, and then like there's analyzing that the behaviors that stem from that, and like they've done a lot of analysis of behavior and they've theorized why that happens, but they haven't. There's been so little research into like what's going on in the brain while these behaviors are present.
Yeah.
Because like for example, like they knew for a long time PTSD was a thing.
Right.
But because we didn't have the technology, they didn't do like brain scans at the time to see what was actually happening in the brain. And then when they did like brain scans, they could see that there was a notable difference between people with PTSD and their brain versus people who were neurotypical and didn't have any kind of trauma that had damaged their brain.
Like, I feel like neurotypical doesn't exist. Like, I know that's like there are people who are just like, this is a neurotypical, and I'm like, you're a unicorn. Like, there's no possible way you could exist because everyone has trauma.
Yeah.
Everyone experiences some kind of like disorder of some like mental I don't want to say dysfunction, but like we like, because I think I was talking to somebody about like how I'm ADHD, and they were just like, oh, that's just a Tuesday for me, and I'm not ADHD, and I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe you should examine that.
Yeah, like, get assessed for that? Yeah, because I think I went to a therapist to like get diagnosed for, or not to get diagnosed, but to get assessed for ADHD. And he gave me a video game
Yeah.
that tracks like my motions and stuff, and it's like, okay, don't press the X or something like that. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, you tested just as well as other people who don't have ADHD. And I'm like, is that because I don't have ADHD or because I'm really good at video games?
Well, that's the other thing too. Like ADHD people with ADHD do have hyper focuses, and sometimes that hyper focus is video games.
Yeah, like I have a lot of hyper focuses, and it's also why I like because I get hyper fixations as well, and I have really bad mood swings that like affect how I think about people, and it's like, I know some of that's depression, I know some of that's anxiety, I know some of that's ADHD, but there's also a lot of things that I'm like, these are not entirely ADHD, depression, anxiety. Some of this is also autistic.
Yeah.
And it's more of an autistic trait than it is depression, anxiety, ADHD.
And like that.
And I do like, I know that a lot of those symptoms overlap, like hella. But for me, it's just like, I have like, you know, like those Venn diagrams.
Yeah.
Like, I have symptoms from all over the like. From all four of these.
Yeah.
And it's like what you said, where it's like, I don't fit neatly into one little box.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't say that you're autistic. You can't say that you have ADHD. You can't say that you have depression or anxiety because you don't fit entirely into the depression and anxiety bubble.
Yeah.
Or the ADHD or the autistic bubble or whatever. And I'm sitting here like, okay, so what's all four of them?
Yeah.
Because we don't have, like, because I have all of it.
Yeah. And like that's the complexity of the situation. Like,
Yeah.
like for example, when they diagnosed me with bipolar type 2, I was looking up online to see what the correlation was between bipolar and autism. Just because I was curious, and because I'm in waiting right now to see if I have ADHD or autism. And it's really unclear about autism's relationship with bipolar disorder, because of the fact that it's not clear whether bipolar disorder is also present in people who are autistic. Like, they can have both disorders. I don't know if you would call autism a disorder, but
I wouldn't.
I don't know what
really
the term
wouldn't,
I don't know what the term is in this case, but what I mean is, like, they don't know if they can be simultaneously present, or if
Diagnosis.
Diagnosis, or if one is misdiagnosed as the other. They just don't have enough information to know. So, like, they legitimately cannot say whether if you're autistic you could also present with bipolar disorder, or vice versa, because there have been times where it's been misdiagnosed like one as the other, because they don't really understand the relation of the two of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really interesting, and it goes to show that we have a long way to go to understand how the brain works, and what functions are affected by what things, and how everything kind of correlates to each other. Did I lose you?
No, I was trying to put my sweater on. And
Oh.
my hand got stuck in my armhole.
Oh, okay. I was like, you were just completely dead silent. I was like, did the call get cut?
No, I messed up my sweater.
That's okay. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, like, brains are complex, and good on Jamie for getting into their PhD program to look into brains more.
Yeah. Oh, because if there's one person in this world who is like, how do, it's Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh, something's going on. Hold on.
Pause?
Okay.
You okay?
My monitor just like started freaking out, so I think I need to move the game onto something else.
Okay.
Hopefully I can do that. So I'm gonna close Discord.
Okay.
No, okay, wait. It stopped freaking out.
Okay.
So I'm just going to move everything onto my other monitor.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn this one off for a while.
Just give it a break.
Yeah, we're just gonna you know what, and I don't need this monitor either, so I'm gonna turn that one off.
Yeah, why do you need like a dozen monitors right now?
Right now I don't. Can I turn this one off? Is this one can't I don't think I can turn this one off. I think this one's just on forever. Yeah. Okay, so this one's just on forever. That's fine. But yeah, I don't need 3 monitors right now because I'm not doing anything besides watching you play, so. And at one point I was on my phone too, so 3 monitors on and my phone.
The ADHD life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I was paying attention to all of it.
I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, they talk nowadays about like how we're so hyper connected, but we can't like really pay attention to anything.
Right.
But I'm like, no, like when I'm on my phone talking to you guys and watching Voyager, I still fully register what's going on in Voyager.
Right.
Like,
the only time that I'm not like super paying attention to something is if I'm like typing and I need to think of like the words that I'm saying.
yeah.
Like that's when like
But that's
if you were talking and I'm trying to like type a message to somebody, I completely like zone you out to write that message, but then I can come back into the conversation with like context clues.
yeah.
Yeah. Not that I did that.
That sounds suspicious. I wasn't suspicious until you said
Yeah.
that.
That's a lot of detail. No, I totally did that.
That's
I
okay.
was I learned about this new thing called pathological demand avoidance.
Yeah.
And apparently it's like an autistic trait. And I will say that I learned about this from TikTok, but I didn't get all of my information from TikTok.
You then
Because
verified it.
I then verified that it was a thing from a reliable source of autism, which is the autism.org .uk,
Yeah.
which like they actually do shit for autism or for autistic people.
Yeah.
And pathological demand avoidance, or PDA, and this is why it's stuck in my brain because I'm like, ugh, PDA, gross.
Public display of affection.
Yeah,
Gross.
right? Yeah. So if you say, "Ooh, I hate PDA," you might accidentally be saying, "Ooh, I hate autistic people." So you're actually ableist. Anyway.
Ah!
Pathological demand avoidance is a profile that describes those whose main characteristic is to avoid everyday demands and expectations to an extreme extent. This section explains, and then it talks about like, it's it goes on to like list resources for people and stuff. But I'm like, do I have PDA? Or is my executive dysfunction so bad that it mirrors PDA?
Yeah. That's why we need more research.
Yeah. So it's like a guide for, there's a guide for autistic adults, which I still haven't been assessed for autism, but there's a high possibility that I am autistic.
Yeah, I know. And I totally understand that. It's like, there's a pretty decent possibility that I'm autistic as well, which is why I'm on the wait list to get tested.
Right.
And that's part of the problem too, is wait lists for the specialists who can diagnose these things are so goddamn long.
Yeah.
I've been
because...
fully waiting 2 years.
Yeah. Like, I did a free assessment, which was just like a bunch of like tests and stuff, which like I don't take tests like especially online tests, I don't take those super seriously.
Yeah.
Because they can be manipulated.
Yeah.
Like if you know what answers are there, like if you know the answers and what they should be in order to like get a faux diagnosis or like a preliminary diagnosis to like, see, I am autistic and this is why.
Yeah.
That like I know people can fake that.
Yeah.
And
or you just go in with a certain expectation bias and it colors your answers.
Right, yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, I am autistic. Or it's like there were certain questions that were very leading.
Yeah.
Like, do you do this at a party? And it's like, yes, I do. And it's like, I must be autistic. And I'm like, no, hold on.
Maybe you just hate people.
Maybe you just hate people, like I do. Like,
is it misanthropy or is it autism?
Right. In this essay, I will. Like I was, Stephanie and I, or Stephanie and I would play like Minecraft or something, and she would put on, like some version of Pride and Prejudice because that was like her favorite Jane Austen thing of all time.
Yeah.
And she was playing the one with Colin Farrell as Mr. Darcy, and I was listening to it, and without even like looking at it, I'm like, is Mr. Darcy autistic? Because I just like all of his traits where he's just like he's very standoffish, but to everybody, not just to Lizzie.
Yeah.
I think of her, the whatever sister. I never got into Pride and Prejudice. I just know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And but I was just like the way that he reacts to her, and then he has to like explain himself to her. Like he really does like over explain like this is why I don't like this guy and this is why I feel like you shouldn't either.
Yeah.
And like that's a very like autistic thing where it's just like I don't understand why people do this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't make sense to my brain. Like there's like
a computation is wrong.
Yeah, and he is very very by the book, very like not like I think somebody on TikTok put it very very succinctly where in the book people, how is that fair?
I mean, I jumped too close to the edge.
Yeah. So someone in TikTok was like, so all of these versions of Pride and Prejudice making Lizzie the good girl and making Darcy the bad boy are wrong. And that's because if there's anyone who's clutching their pearls at Lizzie's dress being covered in mud. It's Darcy. And so Lizzie is the bad boy and Darcy is the pure, the good girl. And it's like, well, that's I wouldn't say it's an autistic trait, but there are people who are autistic who could identify with that, with like rule following. Like for me at the library, there are certain ways that you're supposed to do things.
Yeah.
Like very by the book ways. And I got super frustrated when other people weren't doing that. And like it was just like, it wasn't just like, seriously, dude? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it was let's say, I'm trying to think of an example. I before E, except after C.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I would find books. And this was during the shutdown, so we didn't have people in the library.
Yeah.
So these were librarians putting these books away. And I would find books severely out of order. Like there was a point in time where a shelf had collapsed. And the person who was there putting the books back didn't even bother to put the books back in order. So
what's the point of the Dewey Decimal System? What's the point?
Right. Yeah. So at that point, they just put the books back on the shelf without even bothering to check to see if they were in order, not even bothering to do like even the most minimal shelf read. So everything was just completely undone. And then left it for their long weekend.
Oh my god.
And didn't tell anybody that it had happened. So there is an entire shelf of books that are completely out of order. And so the person, namely me, who had to go and get holds off of the shelf to send to customers, couldn't find a damn thing because they were all out of order.
Pleasant.
Yeah, and so I had to spend my entire hour and a half doing the holds, fixing this shelf, because whoever put it back together didn't bother to do the work that they should have done in the first place. So I had to do their job.
Yeah.
And like, I know that's more of an extreme, but this was all over the library where somebody somewhere was doing this thing where they were just like, oh, well, this is a James Patterson book, so it goes with all the other James Patterson. And it's like, yeah, but this is James Patterson from this series, so it has to go here. And I think at one point in time, they just didn't want to put away the rest of the books, so they just put them on top of the shelf.
What?
Yeah, so like our job is to put the fucking books away. That's literally what we're supposed to do when we're on the floor, is put the books away. And they were either putting the books on the shelf wherever they felt like putting them, or they were just not doing that. And so that frustrated me. Like, and there was like, it was really small. It was like maybe one book out of 75 that was misplaced, and that would piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know that's not a big number, but it's a big number to me.
Yeah.
Like, if it is our job to put books away, to put them away correctly, then I shouldn't have to be going behind somebody to redo it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and there were other things that would like irritate the shit out of me, and they were all small things. They weren't even necessarily things that we were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
They were just common sense things, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it would be easier if we did this and this. And it's like I would constantly be organizing, making things easier for people, and then I would leave for my long weekend and come back, and everything I had I had spent like the entire week organizing to do would be completely undone. And I couldn't find anything. And it wasn't even like it was undone and reorganized in a different way. It was undone and then nobody could find anything.
Great.
Yeah. And I'm like, I put the system in place. I talked to people about the system. I was like, hey, why don't we do it this way? And it's like, that's a good idea. Let's try it. And it worked while I was there because I was not only facilitating the change, but I could come back behind the people and redo it if they did it wrong.
Yeah.
In my mind, they did it wrong. And I think like a lot of people, like especially autistic people, have that you're doing it wrong thing. And it's not a bad thing. It's not like an elitist thing or anything like that. It's very much a, really?
I don't know why. I was doing really good, and at some point I just stopped doing good.
No, that eyeball was just gunning for you.
I'm out to get you, motherfucker.
Yeah, so I can really relate to the, like, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who are autistic who will say something like that. They're not being mean about it. They're just like, there's a way to do this. Why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
And it's like, they were taught that way. Like, oh, you know what upsets me? There's a TikTok trend right now where, multiply 97 by 93 or something like that and show your work or whatever.
Yeah.
And there are these Zennials who are putting the 97 into 93 into boxes. And I was never taught this way.
What the fuck?
You just phased through that.
I did.
Oh my god. I mean, you lost your fairy, but that was awesome.
That's a different way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, just like this math problem. And I'm just like, I don't understand that because every time I try to do the math problem that way, I get it wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this isn't how you do things. Or it's like 97 plus 93 or something. Like, if the people aren't getting like a big number, it's like,
yeah.
It's 97 plus 93 is 190. I just did it on the calculator. Mm-hmm. But people they're putting it in a box and they're making a grid out of it. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
I wonder if that's like the newest math thing.
Yeah, it's like new math or some shit. And,
you know, that scene in The Incredibles where he's helping his son do math, and he's like, "What is this?" And they're like, "It's math. I don't know this math."
Yeah. Yeah. Just. Yeah, it's the new math. It really is.
It's interesting too, yeah, because like parents have that exact experience too. Right. I can't help you with this because they changed it.
Yeah, like this isn't math. This is unnecessary. Yeah, like I have no idea how it's supposed to be done because it's not right.
Go ahead.
I have no idea how they're getting the answers that they're getting because it doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. It's because I wasn't taught that way, and so it's wrong.
So that
doing it wrong.
That actually reminds me of my high school, I think grade 9 math teacher got really frustrated with me because
she's a bitch.
No. That was my grade 10. That was my grade 10 one. She wasn't frustrated with me. Damn it. She was a bitch to my friends. But in any case, grade 9 math teacher was frustrated with me because I would not stop doing long form math. He would show us the long way to do it, and then he would show us the shortcut. And everyone did the shortcut except me. And he said, like, why do you not use the shortcut? Now your, like, homework is, like, 10 times the number of pages as everyone else. Like, I have so much to go through. And I'm like...
because it makes sense to me to do it the long way. It doesn't make sense to do it the short way.
And that's exactly what I told him. I said, if I do it the short way, I legitimately do not understand how I get those numbers. Like, it just becomes a complete mystery to me. And that was the problem. I just could not, and that's like part of what they labeled as my learning disability, is the inability to, like, summarize.
Yeah.
Because, like, when we did social studies, in grade 10, my social studies teacher would have a list of terms related to a unit we were studying, and we would have to write out definitions for them. And I always got full marks on them. But my pages, I also wrote 18 pages double-sided, defining everything, because I just could not figure out how to compact and summarize the information while also keeping, like, the integrity of the definition. But at least he didn't complain about it. He was just like, he was like, excellent. He was like, good job. You defined everything. This is why you get really good marks in this class. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Don't ask me to write a 500-word summary of this on the exam, please.
Yeah.
If I have to write it on this exam.
Summaries are hard, because summaries are just like, you have to summarize it. You have to make it shorter. You have to get the point across in a shorter amount of time. And it's like, but what's important enough that we keep in the summary? What do we leave out? Like, what if everything is important? It's like a textbook that you get back that every single word is highlighted.
Yeah. And that kind of becomes the problem. Is like, you have to learn to parse out what information is unnecessary to, like, the main story of it.
But it's all important.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 11 of 2 Days Play Micro Mages by Morphcat Games. Episode 12 will be out shortly. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment letting us know what you like down below. Please no hate or spoilers, as we're not above removing those comments and the people who make them. That's all for now, folks. We'll see you next time.